the theme of this is going forward. What's coming down the road, and we've just touched on the workforce a little bit, and we've talked about the flight schools, bringing people in, looking at it as a career, STEM programs. There's a lot going on now. There's an awareness of STEM. Just had a conversation with a young woman who took an A36 around the world a couple, 3 years ago, Shasta White. And her goal was to inspire as many people as she could, women and girls in particular. What else can we be doing? What else is going on as an industry? What else are we doing?
Well, let me start out by saying, at AOPA, we started this initiative half a dozen years ago, STEM curriculum in high school. It tested through 9th, 10th, 11th, and now this year their final test for the 12th grade. We're now up and running. It's no longer a test. We will have over 400 classrooms with over 8,000 kids right now taking these classes, mostly virtually, by the way, because the program is set up that way. It's all been provided by donors to the AOPA. And what's really interesting as a voluntary part of the STEM curriculum, about a quarter of these young kids are young women taking these classes. About 40% are people of diverse backgrounds taking these classes voluntarily to want to learn about how to become in aviation. Well, I think there'll be a little bump in the road for certain over the next couple, 3 years for aviation careers, particularly to airlines, but maybe made up in some cases by GA and particularly 135 operations. When you retire a whole bunch of pilots over age 58, you're still creating a demand that's going to be out there in the future for that particular role. But I think because of I think significant, and I believe for a long-term permanent change in GA's value proposition, and whether it's the course of business or seeing family with those that are interested in being part of a club, partnering or buying their own aircraft, GA has never had a better value proposition to get people involved, because it's about, can you even get to that market anymore via the airlines? Do they go very often? Where I believe the airlines are perfectly safe from a crash point of view. They've done great things over the last 20 years. The different value proposition is you're in your own capsule with your own people, and you're going to direct from one of these 5,000 airports to the other. That's never really been a total value proposition like we have right now. And now these young kids in high school are learning it. So we're excited about that.
And why it's so important, and what Mark has been doing and what we're all doing up on the hill with some new initiatives coming forward, the outreach in STEM, is people have no idea how many pilots we are going to need once these advanced air mobility vehicles start to be pumped out. You're seeing that the automotive companies are looking to this right now, and they're jumping in because they see the potential. We have the structure set up. We've got Part 135 already established, so we have operational rules that allow us to get these vehicles into the system. What it's going to take, though, at least initially, is it's still going to be a requirement for a private pilot to be up there operating that vehicle. They aren't going to fly exactly like the ones that we all fly, whether it's a rotorcraft or a regular fixed wing today. They're going to be different. There's going to be a little different training regime, but it's all going to start with private pilot. And so the future, this is going to be so exciting to watch. And what I know, Mark, you're doing, and Tim and Ed, what we're all doing together to lay the groundwork for a big expansion of what's going to happen in the not too distant future is just jazzes me no end.
Yeah, and I want to go back to an important word that Mark used, and that's diversity. Gil, you mentioned Shasta Ways flying around the world and inspiring a lot of girls, a lot of women about aviation, and I think that is a really important part of our future, to make sure that as we are taking the message about aviation and the excitement and the inspiration and STEM opportunities, but to also highlight the diversity of people currently in it and how we're reaching out to places we haven't reached out to and populations we haven't been as inclusive as we should have been. I think that's a big part of how we go forward. We want and need the best and brightest in our industry, and we need to make sure that people from any place can feel that they are part of our community. They can bring their authentic selves here and really help us get to where we want and need to go as an industry.
So, Gil, if I could
Yes.
jump on this as well. I mean, there's been a lot of great things that have been done to attract kids to become pilots, but we still are working hard on the issue of the A&P. How do we attract those kids? And when I travel around the country, I see maintenance shops in rural America where they'll go to the high school and they'll start apprenticing these kids and work with the local vocational schools. So it's critical that we mirror or partner together the aviation businesses at that field with the local community schools or the vocational schools, so that kids can understand that being an A&P is a very high-paying job and is a wonderful career. And we need to work together, and we are working together on that. And what's interesting is that when we all work together in the FAA reauthorization to get funding for workforce development, and then it had to be appropriated. The person who appropriated it was a person who you would never think would be for us in a way, because we tend to be, I mean, I hate to say it, elderly, older, 56-year-old, 70-year-old white males. And this was,
Careful.
I know, this was a person that represented large inner city group, and we went to her and explained to her that the funding of the appropriation for workforce that we needed, we can reach and help a diverse population to create good jobs. And it's a great message. So it doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. It's a message that resonates across the board, and we need to keep working on that realm.
Just here in DC, Tim, to that point, the University District of Columbia over at DCA has a training program for A&Ps that take folks from inside the city here, take these young people over, and every single one of them they have one of the highest pass rates in the country. Every single one of them is hired, has a job well before they graduate, and most of them are making more than what their parents make in their very first job. And the more we can start telling that story, to Ed's point, we can work on diversity into this industry, and we have a great story to tell. And we really have to go after that. And there's great programs in a lot of our big cities. The more we can get the word out and partner with our friends in the airline world, the better off we'll be.